Question for you, actually a few questions for you. Have you ever been curious about making your own homemade natto? Natto is fermented soybeans, and it's a very, I guess, stinky yet tasty Japanese food if you've never had it before. Or if not that, how about making your own amakouji? Amakouji is literally sweet koji, and it could be used to make all kinds of things like amazake, which is literally sweet sake. And if not that, or natto, then how about making your own cheese or making your own yogurt? And if you're not interested in making any of those four options, how about onsen tamago? Onsen tamago is like a literally onsen, which is a hot bath egg. And yeah, you can do all five of those things using this Yogurutia yogurt machine. So if you want to learn more, stay tuned and I'll tell you all about it. Konbanwa, Pat Tokuyama here, creator of the Japanese Cooking Club, where I help people to learn how to make plant-based Japanese food. Today we are going to be doing a little product review for the Yogurutia yogurt machine. This is from Japan. The manual comes in Japanese, so unless you can read Japanese, you probably won't understand what it says. But there are some beautiful pictures in here if you are wanting some inspiration. But don't worry, because I have a few video lessons that are going to show you how exactly to use this machine so you can get some delicious Japanese foods in no time. And I'll also be going over a few pros and cons as well. Okay, so the reason that I got this Yogurutia yogurt machine was specifically to make amakouji, natto, as well as onsen tamago. So those are the three reasons why I was looking to get one of these. There's actually one other machine that had pretty good reviews, another bestseller on Amazon Japan, but I ended up going with this one because one, I liked the color, it's nice and blue, and then also the functionality. So this one actually came as a set. This came with a yogurt strainer as well as a few coffee filters, which you can strain your yogurt to get like a more of a Greek style yogurt if you wanted to do that. And then an onsen tamago set, which I need to grab. So this is the little onsen tamago, I guess, holder, which you can use with this as well. So basically, like I mentioned at the very beginning, the reason that I got this was to make amakouji and natto. So I've tried making homemade natto in my bread proofing machine, which is doable, but it's a little bit more fussy because the bread proofing machine that I have, the Broad & Taylor, which I'm also going to be doing a product review below if you want to see that. If you're interested in making your own bread, you can go ahead and check that out. I don't feel like the natto fermented evenly as compared to the way that it did in the yogurt machine. So in terms of using the Yogurutia yogurt machine, it's pretty straightforward. So there's only a few buttons on here. The first button says start and stop in Japanese. Then there's one for the temperature, which is going to be in Celsius, and then the timer down here, and then there's a little button for the sound. There's a beeping noise that'll go off when your thing is done. Basically, all you got to do is once you're ready to make whatever it is that you're going to make, all you have to do is drop the container. These are all plastic containers, and it comes with like a little lid with which you can latch on, so you can easily take it in and out. And you set the temperature and you set the timer, and then you're done. You let the machine and all the little bacteria do all the work for you. So it's pretty simple. The size of this container is about 1,000 mils. You could probably overfill it a little bit to maybe 1,100 or 1,200, but otherwise these are pretty sturdy, nice and soft plastic, and all these things are dishwasher safe. And depending on what it is that you're making, you may have to use the inner lid. So there's an inner lid, and then this is the outer lid. You always want to put this one on, but they fit nice and snug like that, and then like that. And then this goes on top. So if you've never used any kind of a Japanese device before, what I would recommend, like my shaved ice machine, kakigori machine that I have, is to use a voltage regulator so that you don't fry the machine. So if you're in the US, for example, we have 120 volts in our electricity or outlets, but in Japan they use only 100. So that's what this thing does here. This is a voltage down regulator. You can get this on Amazon as well. So I just use this specifically for my kakigori machine, shaved ice machine, which does Japanese shaved ice, as well as any other icy desserts, like if you'd wanted to make like granita or any kind of like a slushy. That's what that machine is good for, and I actually did a product review, which I'll link in the description below if you want to check that out as well. Anyways, back to this Yogurutia. Basically, there's a few pros and cons that I guess I could share with you guys after using it for many different things. One is that the capacity is kind of limited, so depending on how much yogurt you enjoy eating, 1,000 mils is probably good enough to last maybe about a week. If you are, sharing this between 2 people and each person eats about maybe a 1/4 cup to a 1/2 cup each day. Second con would be that because it is plastic, you may notice that depending on what you're putting in here, you might have some sort of a odor. Like for example, when I made natto, this still kind of tastes like natto. So I usually just reserve the same container for the same type of thing. So I have 3 of these that came with my set. And then one is going to be for koji, amakouji. This one still smells a little bit like amakouji. And then my other one is for yogurt or cheese. So the third con would be that obviously all of the documentation, the instructions and such are going to be in Japanese because this is a Japanese product meant for use in Japan. But if you can understand what temperature you need to keep whatever it is that you're making in here, and then the duration that you need to keep it at that temperature, you don't really need the manual. I mean, the manual has a bunch of recipes and stuff, but in terms of the basic functions that you're going to want the yogurt maker for, you can probably find that information online. And yogurt is pretty simple to make if you've never made that before. All you need is some milk, maybe some yogurt, store-bought yogurt, and you just add a little bit of that yogurt to the milk and then you put it in here for a little bit. And in about 8 hours or so, I forgot what temperature it's at, 40 degrees. So after about 8 hours at 40 degrees Celsius, then you'll have homemade yogurt. And you can also do the same with soy milk yogurt, which I've also made in here, and it's very delicious. I found homemade yogurt tends to be a little bit more on the milder side, so if you're used to yogurt having that sort of like a acidic bite or acidic kick to it, I found that the homemade yogurt tends to be a lot milder. Obviously, it depends also on the type of culture that you're using as a starter. I'm sure different cultures and different brands have different flavors and different bacteria, which is going to result in different tastes. So that's one thing to keep in mind. But yeah, that was I guess I went off on a tangent there. So I think that was the third con. So now we're going to talk about the pros. So some of the pros of this, one is that it's very effective in making those 3 things that I bought it for. So I've made natto multiple times, I've made yogurt multiple times, and I've made the onsen tamago a couple times. And each time it comes out perfect. I've also measured the temperature, and it's actually very accurate as it goes with whatever it is that's displayed. So if it says 40 degrees C on the display, then it's 40 degrees C on the inside, which is awesome. That's the second pro. The third pro is that this thing comes with all these, if you get the set, it's going to come with a couple containers. So you can, like I mentioned before, you can keep one container for one thing and another container for another thing. But if you can't do that, then that's totally fine. Just make sure that you clean it out as thoroughly as possible, because you are fermenting things in here, or you're making yogurt or cheese or whatever it is. And you want it to be clean because the bacteria are going to be doing the work, and you don't want them to be competing with all the bad bacteria if you didn't wash it out well the first time. So the fourth pro would be that it's very simple to use. Like I mentioned, there's really only 3 buttons that you need to press. So the fifth pro would be that this actually comes in a few different colors. I think there was brown, and there might have been red. I think there was red, and then blue. So you have a little bit of a choice there in terms of the color, if you're into colors in your kitchen. Okay, so those are a few of my pros and cons. Let me know if I missed any, if you have a yogurt maker or you've used one before, if any of those resonate with you or not. Anything else that I missed, I'll leave in the description below. Okay guys, so before we wrap up, I just had a few tips for you for using the Yogurutia. Like I mentioned initially, make sure or consider at least to get one of these voltage down regulators if you don't have one already. Second is to use dedicated containers for each of the fermented foods or the yogurts or the cheeses if you're going to be making them, if you can. I think depending on the set that you get, or if you don't get a set, you may not get 3 or 4 of these containers, which is totally fine. You're just gonna have to wash it out thoroughly as good as you can. And then the third tip is to make sure to try different types of yogurt, ingredients for the yogurt. So in particular, plant milk. If you've never had plant-based yogurt, you can try using soy milk. Soy milk that I made with this is very delicious. Same with the almond milk yogurt that I made with this is also very delicious. I haven't tried cashew milk yet, but coconut milk is another one that you can try as well. So make sure you try to experiment with all those different plant milks to enjoy that at home. The good thing about homemade yogurt is there's no additives to it, so there's no artificial color, artificial flavoring, and it's very smooth, and I like it. And chances are you will too. The third thing is going to be to make homemade natto. Natto, like I mentioned, is a fermented soybean, and it's kind of stinky, but it has a lot of flavor. And when I was a kid, I didn't really like natto, but as I got older, it kind of grew on me, and plus it's good for you because it's fermented and because it's made with soybeans. And making natto with the yogurt maker is pretty straightforward, like I mentioned. So the way that you make natto is you basically just soak the soybeans overnight, and then you steam them. And then you put them into the yogurt maker. You can use natto moto, which is a natto starter, or you can use some existing store-bought natto. You just cut a little square off of it, and you put it in, you mix it in thoroughly, you set the temperature and then the timer, and then in about 24 hours, your natto will be ready. And it'll be a little bit stinky in your kitchen, perhaps. And there'll be a link to the video on how to make natto in the description below. So let me know what you guys think. If you have any questions, leave them below. And I guess question of the day, is there anything that I missed? Anything that you were looking for in a yogurt maker that you think this one didn't have? And are there any alternatives that I should have considered instead? I know that there was one competing yogurt machine that I didn't get, but I chose this one. So yeah. Second question of the day, if you are in the market for a yogurt maker, do you think this is one that would have satisfied everything that you're looking for, all of your needs? Let me know in the comments right now. Anything that I forgot to say, I'll make sure to link it in the description below or on my product review blog. Oh yeah, and if you want to see more videos like this one, and especially the natto video, and potentially a yogurt video, and potentially a amakouji video, those will be linked in the description below or here in this end card somewhere. All right, see you guys later. Katsukete ne. Bye-bye. So question of the day, was that the question of the day? Did I already ask the question of the day? Oh man, it's been a long day.